Mr. T back with the Chromeworks Club. So this is the weekly show where we talk about everything related to Scratch, and you learn a little bit new about how to do coding in my favorite coding system, Scratch. So we're back in the beautiful Chromeworks studio here in Ottawa, Canada, and I'm joined by Kian, who's over in the chat and over on YouTube as well. Hey Kian, I'm just going to type a hello there, but I'm sure you're listening. Nice to hear from you again. You've been very quiet on the chat the last couple of weeks, and I guess you're a shy boy, are you? Oh, that's some green showing up behind me. I have this green thing that's set up here to show my the green on which gets cut off of my Chromeworks logo here, but I think something slipped. So let me just see if I can readjust that right now. Yeah, there it is. Oh my woes. I guess my camera's not set up properly. Anyway, so we got a great show lined up today. I'm going to show you part 5 of our tremendous epic RPG game series. We're approaching the end. We've been working on this for a month now, and I'm really excited about our progress. This week we're going to add a winged enemy that fires projectiles, and I'll be showing that to you in a couple of minutes. Coming up as well, I'm going to show you a little bit about the animation system that we set up inside this fantasy RPG and how you can adapt it for some of your own projects as well. And so I'm looking forward to showing you that in a little bit. And we'll be doing an Extreme Makeover remix. We'll be looking at a file by one of my regular students, Max, and we'll be tweaking it around a little bit and seeing if we can improve it a bit. So, lots on the go here. Let's get started. So, anyone else besides Kian on the stream right now? Oh, Gamer Davy's here. Hey, Davy. And so, we've got a couple of people lined up here and really excited to get going with you. So, let's start with the RPG game. I'll show you the progress that we've made so far. So... Alright, so this is part 5 of our RPG game that we've been building, and this week, as I said, we've added some flying enemies. You can see over in the game controller here that we've got a new element inside our custom thing, and that's the bat count. So in our first level here, we've got a bat count of 0, but I'm going to change it. Let's put 1 skeleton and 1 bat into this level, and I'll show you what it looks like. So the skeletons still behave the way that they're supposed to. But these bats, they walk up to you, they shoot you, and I can attack this guy as well. There we go. The bullets are a little bit slow. That was the way that Jeffrey set it up. I prefer it a little bit faster here, so I'm going to go ahead and modify this a little bit. I also don't like the way that he set up the movement here. I'm not a WASD kind of guy. Let's just do right, left, up, down instead. I'm more of an arrow keys kind of guy. All right. So let's play around with the speed of the attack a little bit. There's a little block down here called Check If Projectile. So I teach you all the details of how to do this stuff inside the lesson. You'll find my lesson 5 file over on where you can load it up. You can see the address in the YouTube comments in the YouTube file name here, and you can also get it on my website at chromeworks.ca/livestream, and you'll find this file. So we've got as usual, we've got a catch-up file here that will give you everything that we coded up until now, so you can jump right into part 5, or you can just start from the beginning and start working your way through our tutorials. So here's the movement speed of these shots. They're 1.6 steps right now. Let me show you what 3 looks like, and I think that's a little bit better. It's just a matter of personal preference, of course. All right, so we're moving now. Let's dispatch the first guy. And so the AI on these bad guys is they approach to within 200 pixels, and then once they get there, they stop, and then they start shooting missiles at you. You can shoot the missiles out of the air with your sword. And let's go and kill this guy right now. Beautiful. And so you can set up any number of bad guys in your room just by changing this game controller around for the particular level, right? So this is level 00, which is the Savannah, and we set up one skeleton, one bat here. And we can go crazy with this. We could put like 4 bats in here if we wanted to, and let me show you what that looks like. There's our one skeleton, and there's our 4 bats. So very, very easy to customize this level and get stuff set up in the way that you want it. So I'm very excited about this. We're just got one more lesson left, and that's going to be next week. We're going to add a boss to our game, which I'm pretty excited about as well. All right, so while I was playing around with this week, I'm just looking at who's, oh, I'm muted on Discord. Sorry about that, Kian. All right, I should be unmuted now, guys. Sorry about that. That seems to happen to me every week lately, eh? Okay, anyway, so what I wanted to tell you about was some of the work I've been doing with animation and stuff lately. I was really interested in this animation system that Jeffrey set up inside of this RPG system, and I've been plugging away a little bit with it in the last couple of days and trying to figure out how to get new sprites into here with new animations and how to modify this to use new animations. So I wanted to go through it with you today. The system that we set up here is really, really modular and really, really easy for you guys to build off of. So I'm hoping to that you guys can start using this in your own game projects. And I'm going to show you today how to do that. So one of the first things I was looking for was, let's find some great graphics that we can load into Scratch here to use. So one of the advantages of what we've used here, and I'll show you next week how we got these graphics into here, but we've got a really beautiful player graphic here that has all kinds of cool animations. There's how many? 39 different animation states here that have all the different kinds of him attacking and idle animations and animations for when he's injured and all kinds of stuff like that. So where do we find those cool graphics? You can get them off the web, and I'll show you sometime how to import sprite sheets, which are complete sets of animations into Scratch. But one of the things, particularly for new users, that you'd be excited about is that there's lots of these graphics already set up inside Scratch, and that was what I wanted to talk to you about today, was about Sprite Packs. I hadn't really heard of this before until I started doing some digging around this week. So lots of Scratch users who are really interested in graphics and designing their own graphics, they've kind of collected graphics together into collections that you guys can use in your own projects. And I want to show you today where to find those and how you can redeploy them for your own projects. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit today. I've still got this green behind me here, eh? This, where's my green card here? I'll just shift this over a little bit. This was supposed to be a great idea to make sure the green on the logo of my shirt was visible, but it just seems to be creating more trouble than anything. I'm just going to leave it invisible for now. Okay, so let me show you. I'm going to close this up right now because it seems to be giving some trouble to my screen here. Okay, and let's get into just a blank Scratch file again. All right, so I want to show you some of these graphics packs that have been created by other Scratch users and how we can bring the stuff into here. So the first step is just to find these things. We can go into our search window here and just type in Sprite Pack. And you can see we get a whole bunch of different cool files here. There's also a bunch of studios that also have the same list. And so these are collections of other people's sprites that we can, so these are collections of Sprite Packs, right? So there's ones that are related to cats and some that are Mario related. Davey, you should be excited about that. So there's individual files here that have lots of graphics in them, and then there's other studios that have collections of Sprite Packs in them. So an endless supply of sprites here, all of them set up according to theme. So here's a Minecraft Sprite Pack, for example. And you can see that inside here are, let me just click right into it. There we go. We've got a cool Ender Dragon animation. A lot of these are set up so that as soon as you click the green flag, it starts going through all the animations. And we've got some bricks and some other elements here that you can use. Some of them are bigger than others. Let me show you some other Sprite Packs. So here's a Sonic the Hedgehog Sprite Pack, for example. And so what someone has done is just take a dump of all the different files that he could find. Some of these take quite a while to load because there's so much stuff in them. But you can see there's all sorts of cool animations in here that we can use. So if we go inside any one of these, you can click on any of the sprites and see all the different versions we have. So let's take one of these and import them into an existing project. So we've got a run animation here that looks pretty good. If so it has a few different steps here. So how do we get this into our own game projects is the question. There's a couple of different ways to do it, and I want to show you some of the different options that you have here. So number one is your good old handy dandy backpack, right? So if you open up your backpack, you need to be logged into your Scratch account to make this work. Open up your backpack and drag any sprite over into there, and then we can go into a new project and you can drag it out of your backpack and back onto the Scratch palette again. I'm going to drag it right into my Sprites palette here. And one of the good things about doing it this way, you can see, is that the code that's attached to that particular sprite is loaded right up in there now. And so if there's any existing code, you can save the entire sprite and its code all in one piece here by dragging the sprite into the backpack. Really handy. Let's make this guy a little bit bigger. He's a bit pixelated, eh? Let's make him like 200% here. And let's try running through this animation and seeing what it looks like. There we go. And so now we can carry on coding this guy and add him to our own projects. Really nice. Another way that you can get stuff from other files as well is you can export the graphics. So this is if you don't have access to your backpack for some reason, or you want to save this onto a flash drive to hand to other people, or you want to email things to people, you want to get it into an external file that you can use to send to other people. And you can do that by right-clicking on the file, selecting export, and it's going to ask me where I want to save stuff to. I've just created a temp folder here, so let me just drop that in there, and I'll call this Sonic. So it saves it as a Sprite3 file, which is compatible with Scratch, of course. And if I get into any new project now, I can upload the sprite, pick the one that we just saved. Oh, I'm in the wrong location again. Chromeworks Club. Here's my Sonic sprite, and it will import it right in with all of its attached code and stuff as well. So the nice thing about that is you've got a little external file that's not part of Scratch that you can send to other people. So you could post that on your website as a shared thing. You could email it to people. You could save it into your Google Docs or your Google Drive, I should say, to use in other projects, and keep a little repository of really cool graphics and files and stuff where you don't have to have it actually saved in Scratch to be able to use it in Scratch. This is especially handy for you guys who are working in the offline editor, who don't necessarily have access to the files that other people have created. If you have internet problems, or if you're working away from your internet connection, it's really cool to have stuff on your drive that you can load up anytime you want to. Okay, so I want to show you guys how to take some of these files from a graphics pack and use them with my new animation system, and what we're going to be building today. Hey, Chris Copeman's here from England today. He's back again. Hi, Chris. How are you? Good. So we got a couple of people on here today. So let me show you how to get some of these cool graphics and create animations for them using our new animation system. So by the way, I have saved this animation system, an example of it inside. I've shared it, and I'm going to send you guys a link to this, and you can have a look at it if you like. So I'm going to post it into the chat. This file's already shared. Let me do it into the Ask Mr. T here on Discord as well, so you guys can look at it there. All right. So I I wanted to show you how the animation system works with one of these graphics packs that I've got here. So let's go ahead and grab a graphics pack. I've already got the finished files there for you guys to look at, but let me show you again how to grab these guys and bring them in. So I'm going to just gonna search for Sprite Pack. And I'm going to use a really cool Star Wars clone trooper one here. This is by a scratcher named Clone Commando 1. He's done a whole bunch of really great graphics in here. And I wanted to show you how to just grab the basic graphics. Let me click the green flag and I'll show you what this looks like. So he's created an entire set of graphics for these clone troopers. And so how can we adapt these and use them in a game really easily is the challenge here. So I'm going to grab one of these clone troopers. Let's just grab the first guy. And I'm going to save him to my library the way that I just showed you guys. I'm just going to drag him down into my library. And let's start a brand new file now. Let's go new. And I'm going to drag him back into there. Let's get rid of the cat. We don't want him. So we've got our basic animation here, but he's going through all his animation styles at once. And so we want him to be able to go through just the animation styles related to one particular activity, right? So so let's trash what we already have here. And I want to show you guys how to deploy my animation system that Jeffrey and I put together and use it there. So the code, which you'll find in that animation file that I just shared with you, you'll find the address for it in your file description as well. It contains two big components here, and let me show you what they are. So the details aren't super important right now, but basically if you drag these two blocks into any game project that you're working on, this is all you're going to need with a few little minor changes to get the animations running the way that you want them to. So right now the setup is when I started the clone, but we're actually going to work on it with the green flag attached here. So because we're not using clones, we're going to use the actual original trooper here. So as soon as I click the green flag, he starts going through animation cycles. The problem is it's looking for names. So it's looking, the code is looking to find an animation name that matches the animation state that we're doing here. So here's the define as set animation leads to one of these blocks here like this. And in here you have to put the name of the animation that you want them to use, like walk, for example. And we need to put the wait time, which is the amount of time between frames, usually about 0.5 seconds, works pretty nicely. And whether it's looping or not. So 1 if it's looping and 0 if it's not looping. If you're ever confused about what goes into these different bubbles, you can just look up here in the define and that'll tell you what it is. We could have created this with labels, but we didn't do it this time. So now it figures out what the walk cycle is by looking at the actual names of the costume. Let's go and have a look at the costume names in here right now. So we have a walk animation here that goes walk 1, walk 2, walk 3, walk 4, walk 5. The way that the code works is it looks for the very first one block that says just walk in it. So for this first one, I have to erase the number 1, and that's going to be the master one that it goes to. And what the script is going to do is go through each of these walk cycles. It'll start on walk and then go to walk 2, walk 3, walk 4. As soon as the title doesn't include the word walk anymore, here's walk 9. When it gets to the next one, which is called hurt to die, it'll say, uh-oh, this isn't part of the walk cycle anymore. It'll automatically bring it back to the first walk again. And so it's the names of the sprites that will tell it when your walk cycle begins and ends. So what we need to do is go through this entire thing and rename just the first one as the name of the animation. So the first walk cycle has to be walk with nothing else. And all the other ones, you can just have the word walk with a number or something after that. Let's do it again with shoot here. We'll just do shoot with no numbers after it, and then the rest of the other shoot animations will have numbers after them. Let's keep walk going down here, and we'll look at hurt/die. And again, we'll take the first one and get rid of the number on it. And here's another one called get up, and we'll take the number off of that one. So all the hurt die animations have to have the words hurt die in them, but they can't. They need something in addition to it. The first one has just the words in it, and the other ones can have numbers in it. Okay, so we've got everything set up properly inside our character now. So with the names done properly, as soon as we click the green flag here, it's going to get stuck in this loop where it's going through the animation cycles. And now we just need to tell it what animation to wear. So if I click on set animation walk, for example, my character will start walking at that speed that I just set up there. So I also want an idle animation here to get him to stop. So he's going to keep working on this walk animation forever right now because it is looped with a 1 here in the attributes. If I set the attributes to 0, it'll just, and I restart the file again, you'll see that it'll just go through the walk cycle once, and then it'll be done. Now that walk is way too slow here. Let's change the wait time to like 0.1, which I think will work a little bit better here. So let's click the green flag, and there we go. And he goes through his walk cycle. Oh, he's doing it forever here because it's inside a loop, right? Okay, so if we wanted to go to a different animation from here, we can duplicate that. And let's pick the shoot animation. So let's have him go through the shoot animation. And click the green flag. Is it called shoot? Maybe the name of my costume isn't shoot here. It is shoot, eh? Okay, so click the green flag. Walk. And then shoot. There we go. And it does shoot after walk. And if we wanted to go back to walk again, we can click back on the walk cycle. And so we can deploy these blocks here. There's the shoot working properly again. And then we can go back to walk. Let's try a run. I think it's called run is one of the other animations that we have here. There's hurt, die. So let's try hurt/die as well. Duplicate. Hurt/die. There we go. And that will make him die. You see there's a 1 there, so it's looping. Let's put a 0 after it to make it not loop. So we'll go shoot and then die. Boom. And they're dead just like that. So I haven't done anything special with these costumes. All I did was rename them so that the first one had the name without numbers, and then any subsequent ones had numbers after it, and it automatically knows what to do now. If I added extra walk animations, if I had 20 walk animations, it would go through all of those. It would just go through all the ones that are named the same way again. So let's add this to some code here and see if we can get this turned into an actual game mechanism now. So I'm going to just get a normal movement setup going here. Let's go when green flag clicked forever, and we'll get a typical movement cycle going here. Let's get him up, standing up and walking here. I want to set his rotation style to left, right, so that he doesn't go upside down when I tell him to go to turn left, which often happens in these projects. Now let's grab an if statement, and we'll go if key right arrow is pressed. Then we're going to tell him to point to the right. So we'll go to our motion blocks here. Let me blow this up a little bit for you guys. We'll tell him to point to the right. And we'll tell him to change his X position by, let's say, 5 or so. Now I'm going to duplicate this whole block, and we'll do the same thing for heading to the left. Change X by -5 and point to the left. So we've got a basic movement routine now where our character is moving and sliding to the left and to the right when we move him. So now we need to incorporate this animation style here. We're going to have an idle animation for him so that he doesn't keep walking when we stop moving here as well. And so let's go and create an idle animation. There's no idle animation set up in the thing. We're just going to use this shoot animation though. I'm going to duplicate it. I've created a brand new shoot animation here called shoot 8. I'm just going to rename this to idle, and we only need the 1 frame of it basically to give him an idle animation. You could do something more complicated if you want to. And so what we'll tell him to do is to switch into the walk animation whenever we walk left or walk right. We don't have to repeat it because it's just going to do it once, and then as soon as we let go of the key, it will go back to its idle animation. So let's create another if statement in here that says if I'm not pressing any keys at all. So let's go if. So I want to suggest here that I'm not moving any keys. So I'll go key any pressed. And I want to do the opposite of that. I want to say if I'm not pressing any keys. So let's go to our operators. We'll grab a not sign and plunk the any inside here. So now, as soon as I let go of these keys, it's gonna activate whatever's going on in here. So now we can use our new set animation blocks. Let's set the animation style to walk 0.1 right here, and we'll do the same thing for moving to the left. And over on the right hand side, if I'm not pressing any key, we'll set it back to idle. So just let me type the word idle here. There we go. So let's try our game out now. We'll go click the green flag. You can see he's doing nothing, but as soon as I started moving, he'll start walking through his walk cycle. When he goes through it once, you can see that he ends though, right? It's not repeating itself. So again, if you want your graphic to repeat itself, you've got to change this looping number to 1. And that'll get it going in an endless cycle where it's repeating through that as long as he keeps walking. And it'll never stop, theoretically. And then when we do stop, we get back to the idle animation. Okay, so let's make him shoot now as well. So I'm going to add another if statement to this block here. Let's go if. Let's do the space key here. So let's go sensing key space. So if I press the space key, let's set our animation to shoot. So we'll use the set animation here again. I've got it set up for shoot already here, and you can see that when I click on it, it doesn't go through the shoot animation because he's busy. He's automatically defaulting back to the idle again. This will not work the way that I've set it up here. Let me just show you. He'll go through the first, when I click the space key, he'll go through the first frame of his animation, and he'll actually keep shooting as long as I hold the shoot button down. But the problem is, as soon as I let go, he'll go back to his idle animation again. So we kind of want to get him out of his movement cycle while he's shooting and get him to finish this shoot animation before he goes back to his regular motion and stuff like that. So to do that, we have to tell it to wait until the animation's totally done the first time before we go back to the idle animation again. And that's what'll get it shooting properly. So all we have to do is tell it to wait here. There's a variable in here called animation ended that goes back and forth between 0 and 1. So if we wait until the animation ended is equal to 1, animation ended is equal to 1, then it'll make sure the whole animation plays when we shoot here. So let's go ahead and grab another one of my custom blocks here. Set animation. Sorry, so we're doing if key, we want to go wait here, sorry. So we're going to wait for that animation ended to be over. So let's go wait until, after the space key here, and then let's look for variables. We'll go animation ended is equal to 1. Hey, Deck's back. I haven't seen you forever, Deck. Nice to see you again, dude. Hang around after the stream. Well, I'd like to chat with you a little bit, buddy. Okay, so animation ended is equal to 1. And so now it's going to get stuck in the shoot animation until it finishes it the first time. I think I have to change this number back to a 0 again so that it doesn't try to repeat it. All right, so now I'll walk around. My animation's working for the Stormtrooper. Then when I hit the space key to shoot, it'll play the entire shoot animation, and then I can go ahead and move again. So now we can go ahead and create a projectile or something and have it fly out from that position. Let's go ahead and do that right now, because I know some of you guys at home don't really know how to do that. So let me walk you through how to set up an animation here again for this guy. Let's go paint a new sprite. I'm just going to draw a little laser beam or something, or a little laser dot here. We'll color it kind of a funky yellow color, I think. There we go. Oh, I've got a little dot here that I don't want for sure. So I've got my little laser here. Let's shrink it a little bit. We don't actually have to shrink the graphic. We can just go into here and set it for 50%. So let's go when I press the space key. Let's make this a little bit bigger. When I press the space key, oh, first of all, we want to hide the graphic here. So let's go when green flag clicked, we'll hide. And when the space key pressed, we'll create a clone of ourselves. And when it starts the clone, we'll tell it to pop over to the location where my clone trooper is right now. So we'll say go to, we'll use the go to random position block and change to go to clone trooper. We want it pointing in the same direction as the clone trooper too. So let's go point in direction, and we want it to point in the same direction as the clone trooper. So let's figure out what the clone trooper's current direction is using this reporter block, which is under our sensing blocks here. I'm going to grab one of these ones here that says backdrop number of stage. You guys who watch me regularly will know this reporter block is one that I really love to use because it tells you all the information you need to know about other sprites inside your project. So let's change this from stage to clone trooper, and we'll call it direction of clone trooper. So now the bullet's going to be pointing in the direction of the clone trooper, and now we can just start it moving once it's pointing in the right direction. So let's go repeat forever, move 10 steps, and we'll say if it's touching a wall, if touching edge of the screen, then we'll delete this clone. All right, and let's add a sound effect while we're at it. I know there's a cool laser zap sound effect in here under
pew pew.
Pew pew, yeah, that's the one. Who was that, Jace? Oh, hey, Jace.
Yep.
Good to see you again, dude. All right, so the pew pew laser sound is the one that will work nicely here. And let's go start sound pew in here, and let's see if everything actually works the way that I expect it to here. So the pew sound is going to happen.
Continue the sound though?
Continue the sound? What do you mean?
Yeah, won't it just keep starting the sound and make it sound like really glitchy?
Well, let's try that out and see if you're right about that.
Nope.
Yeah, so if you hold down the button, it will do that. Look at that, I've crashed my guy now by my code by creating clones of myself over and over again. So yeah, we would have to slow down the bullet creation here. Let's try using a play sound pew until done, and that will probably solve part of our problem here. So again, though, if we're holding down our key, you can see that we get stuck into this endless loop where it gets where
you have to add a wait, I think.
Yeah.
Like a wait.
Yeah, so let's add a wait until. And what are we waiting for, Jace?
Maybe 1 second.
Yeah, so wait 1 second before we can hit the space key again.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that's actually going to work, buddy. So because every time you hit the space key, it's not going to get stuck in here and go back. It's just going to reinitiate the cycle here. So we could use a timer for this here, and I think that might be the better way to do it. We can say if the timer is not equal to a certain number, then the space will go. I know there's a way to do this with wait commands. Does anyone else know how to do this just using wait commands? So Jace, what's your idea?
I don't have one.
You don't really have one, eh? Anyone else, Chris or someone else, remember how to slow this shooting down so that it doesn't crash every time we mash the space key button? We want to basically disable the space key until the bullet has had time to recycle itself, so that we're not constantly creating new shots, right? So anyone know how to do that? All right, so I'm going to show you one way to do it anyway. I seem to remember there was a way to do this using wait until blocks, but what I'm going to do instead is, pardon me, Chris? Okay, go ahead and give me a suggestion if you have one.
Use the repeat until block.
Use the repeat until block. Okay. And what are we going to do with
That's a good idea.
And how would we deploy it then, Chris? Sorry, I'm having a hard. Okay, can you try that again? I just didn't hear what you said. Your voice is kind of kicking in and out here, so we're having a little bit of difficulty.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, that's better. Okay, Chris, so what's your suggestion here?
Put repeat until underneath the when it's basically pressed, and put create a clone and play inside.
Okay, create a clone and play sound inside here. And what are we repeating until then?
Is it until they hit the edge of the screen?
Well, we could. That would only let us put one bullet in there at a time, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we could do is, so hold it. It's going to repeat creating the clone. I think we're actually, rather than going repeat until, we could go wait until.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think wait until might be the better way to go, because we don't want the second shot to happen until a certain amount of time has gone off here, right? So this is, I would do it with a timer. I don't know if you have a better idea for this, Chris. Do you have a better idea, or?
Actually, yeah, timer.
Yeah, so let's try a timer here. So let's go to our sensing blocks. We'll grab a timer. And we'll say wait until timer is greater than, so the timer goes up in, does it go up in seconds? It does, eh? So let's tell our thing to wait until the timer is greater than 1 second. And then as soon as you shoot, it's gonna reset, or it'll play the sound until done, and then it'll reset the timer back to 0 again. Let's see if that works. So let's go reset timer. All right. Yeah. So that seems to work pretty well. Let's try it with a shorter number now. Let's say set the timer to 0.5 instead. There we go. Now, why is the bullet coming out from underneath the clone trooper's feet instead of coming out someplace else here? Anyone have any thoughts about that? Nobody knows? All right, so let's have a look at our characters and see whether that would be the first thing I would check, is to see whether our characters are centered properly or not. So it looks like our bullet here is centered properly, which means that our clone trooper might not be. Yeah, so he's a little bit above. So here's the center. You can see the center is right down at his feet. So this is a spot, when I tell my bullet to go to the clone trooper, it's going to this spot here where the center of the character is. Now I could pick up my character and move him to the middle here, but the problem with doing that is I'd have to do it for every single costume in this whole thing, which is no good at all. So a faster and easier way to solve this thing is just to tell the bullet, when it's created, to jump up a little bit from where it should be. So all we have to do is tell it, when I press the space key, so when I'm creating, we go to clone trooper, and then we can tell it to go up a little bit. Let's just change its Y coordinates here. So let's go change Y by, and we'll try some different numbers here. I'm guessing, anyone have a suggestion of how far?
At 10 for now to see how much it's changed.
Okay, fair enough. So that's 10 pixels up from where we wanted before. Let's click the green flag. Whoa. And suddenly my guy is not even visible right now. Is my bullet invisible? It is. I haven't told it to show. How come it was showing before? Okay, when I start as a clone, show. There we go. So that's with a displacement of 10. Let's try a displacement of 20, and I'll show you how that's a little bit different here. A little bit higher. And we can keep going higher with that. Let's try 60. Getting better. Let's try 60.
70.
Try 70. Yeah, oh, maybe a little bit more. Hey, let's try 75. That's looking good. It needs to be a little over to the left here too, eh? So let's modify the x coordinate here. Let's go change our x. It has to go to the left, so we're gonna go minus on our x coordinates. Let's try minus 20. Still not quite there, eh? Let's try minus 30 and see what that looks like. That's looking pretty good now, eh? The problem is the timing though, eh? Because you can see that the bullet comes out after the flare of the gun, right? You want the bullet to actually come out while it's flaring, which is a couple of frames in. So before we create the clone of the bullet, we actually want to delay a little bit, eh? Let's see if we can fix that up a little bit. Let's go create clone of myself.
All right, everyone, I'm gonna go. Have fun.
Okay, Jace. Thanks for visiting. All right, Jace got a little impatient with what we were working on here. All right, so I guess we could, we want the shoot to actually happen when the animation has been changed to a certain thing. So we go wait until, we could go wait until the animation is set up properly, right? Let's figure out which animation on the clone trooper is the one that actually has the flare coming up from the bullet. The one called shoot 5. So let's tell it to wait until we get to that animation. So we go wait until costume of the clone trooper is equal to, so let's use a reporter block. We'll go clone troopers, costume name is equal to, and I believe it's shoot 5 we were looking for here, eh? Yeah, shoot 5. So let's tell it to wait until the timer is greater than 0.5 and the costume name of the clone trooper is equal to shoot 5, and then it'll release the bullet. So let's try that. We'll grab an and sign. I'm not 100% sure this will work, guys, but I just wanted to give it a try and see how that worked. All right, when space key pressed. There we go. And you can see the gun glows, and then the flash comes out of it. And let me maximize this so you guys can see better. So I'm going to shoot. So there's a bit of delay there, but that's because that's the way the animation is set up here, right? We want the animation to not shoot the bullet out right away because it takes a second for him to actually point the gun and for the flash to come out of the end of the muzzle, and then the bullet shoots. I think our offset is still off a little bit for our bullet there, eh? Let me try minus 40 and see what that looks like. There we go, that's looking much better now. Okay, so things are looking pretty good. Anyway, I wanted to show you guys how to adapt this animation system and create a simple game. So we got basically a nice new Star Wars themed game going here, right? We've got our bullets shooting properly. Oh, it looks like they're not shooting properly to the right here. We're gonna have to do a bit more playing around to get the graphics working offset properly for this. But so it helps if your characters are centered properly before you make them, of course, anyway. Okay, so I don't know if we really want to do a whole lot else today. I was going to look at a few other things, but we're already 45 minutes in, and I'm already losing a couple of you guys. So I don't have a few housekeeping things before we go, though. So I'm starting to run out of projects for my Extreme Makeover Scratch Edition thing. I'd really love for some of you guys to submit some remixes for me, or some of your own projects that I can remix and do a little Scratch tutorial around. So I'd love for you to start submitting some stuff to me. Remember, the address for the studio where you can store the stuff is inside the description for this particular YouTube file, so you can go ahead and just if you've made your own project and you want me to have a look at it and see if I can doctor it and play around with it, then please go ahead and save that into that file and drop me a note. And remember, you can always get a hold of me at info@chromeworks.ca if you have anything you want to say to me. You can also reach me on Discord, all my addresses and stuff like that, or over on you'll find them over on my website at chromeworks.ca. All right, so next week we're going to be back with the final part of our RPG series. So I'm hoping that you guys, after we're done here, will start remixing this project and come up with your own graphics and stuff like that. I think I've shown you guys today how you can take the existing graphics that you have from any other project and import them and use them for your own stuff. So I'd like to see what you guys can do with that. In the meantime, I think I'm going to log off for today. Please send me your files to remix. Please send me any suggestions you have for the stream here. Always looking to put some new stuff in here. I would love to start remixing your files a little bit more, but I need some raw material to work with. So send me what you got. All right, guys. So I'm going to log off for this week. I hope you had fun, and I'll be back next week with some new Scratch projects and some